Hey, this is Dan. This is Pilates All Levels here at Studio Blue. Only optional props needed. I'm opting not to use them, but if you have a mini ball or a mini band or a TheraBand, you can use those at home. If anything doesn't feel good in your body, please don't push through any kind of negative or bad pain, especially your joints, your neck, or your back. All that said, we're gonna start on hands and knees today. So if you generally have some wrist tension and you're on a really squishy mat, walking forward onto a harder surface will generally relieve some of that tension, right? So just things to be mindful of. Fingers will spread fairly wide, knees under hips, hands under shoulders. And just start by rounding the spine. And you're just gonna hold this position for a moment. Feel some weight in the tops of your feet, your shins. Feel your shoulder blades widen. Allow your jaw to relax. And feel your waistline lifting up away from your t-shirt. And then as you inhale, start to open the chest, come into a little bit of extension. And our lower backs generally kind of naturally have extension. And I want you to see if you can find a little bit more movement in your upper and your middle back. So it's really going to feel like your heart or your chest is dropping to the floor and almost like it's pulling forward and slightly up. And at the same time, right, that all that's happening, see if you can pull very lightly your hands and your knees together, right? And then again, round your spine. We'll start to add a little bit more movement. Curl the tail, relax your glutes. And then as you inhale, open the chest, lift the tailbone, look slightly forward, nice shoulders roll down. And just go two more like this. So exhaling to round, shoulder blades widen. And inhaling to open. And then find the place that's in the middle of those extremes. Look to your right, wag your tail to the right. So small side bend. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, look left and wag your tail to the left. And as you do this, right, as you just go from side to side, I want you to imagine you're in between two walls. So you're not necessarily swaying your hips from side to side, but you're allowing one hip to hike up and one hip to drop down. So just creating some length and space in between the rib cage and the pelvis. And then the next time that you look to the right and wag to the right, hold, round up that side. So it's kind of like a circular cat and cow. You're going to come through center, come down on the left. Now, don't overthink this one, right? Just kind of let your body move. So you're swaying, looking right, roll up the right side, come through center and come down the left side. And you might even close your eyes, right? And just move freely on this one, right? Again, make sure you're breathing, any breath you want. I'll demo it from a different angle as well. So rounding up one side, coming down the other. Now, wherever you are, just reverse. So you're rolling up the opposite side, coming down the opposite side. So really just undulating, right? The rib cage, the pelvis. Some people call this sexy cat, right? Dancing cat, whatever you want to call it. Just create some space. Yeah, find your center, feet together, knees open, push back into a resting pose or a child's pose. Right, you can have your forehead onto the ground or you can rest your forehead onto your hands. Take a couple breaths, right, just noticing how your body feels. And we'll check in with this at the end of the hour. Start to breathe up and over your thighs. So as you breathe in, you're not necessarily just breathing into your stomach, but you're really starting to widen your rib cage, the side of the ribs and the back of the rib cage. And the more you direct your breath into the back side of the ribs, your breath is probably going to feel a little bit shallower because those muscles back there, those intercostal muscles around the ribs are generally a little tighter. One more full breath in through nose, out through mouth. And then make your way up. And we'll eventually come onto your back. Have your ball close by or pillow, right? Whatever that prop may be. Knees bent, feet flat. You have your ball close by. Again, just imagine I have one here. Clasp your hands together. And then place your hands together behind your head, elbows towards the sky. And drop your chin a little bit. So let your chin drop, find some length in the back of your neck. Neutral pelvis, all that means is your tailbone's heavy, a little bit of a curve to your lower back. Exhale, lift your head and chest up. Hold here at the top, making sure that there's still just a little bit of space under the lower back. I don't have to see under there, but there's a little bit of space. And then on your next breath, lower your chest, your shoulders, and your head. Inhale at the bottom, nod your chin. Exhale, curl up, ribs draw down. And then as you inhale, lower the chest, the shoulders, and the head. And again, exhaling to curl. Yeah. And inhaling to lower. And every time you breathe out, find a little bit of force. I don't necessarily have to hear it, but there's a little bit of force on that exhale. Almost like you're fogging up a mirror, or if you were gonna, I don't know my other point there was, but let's just say fogging up a mirror, right? And notice that connection to your breath. Do you feel a deeper sense of connection to your lower abdominals? Another way to access some of these lower abdominals, and especially your pelvic floor, if you imagine you were peeing and you stop the flow of urine, it's those deep, deep, deep bladder muscles that you want to feel engage a little bit on your exhale, and you want to feel them relax a little bit as you inhale, right? So again, just things to think about as you're lifting the head and the chest and lowering the head and the chest, right? So last one like this, curl up, pause, right? And maybe we're off the shoulder blades, maybe we're not quite yet, that's okay. On your next breath out, curl your tailbone and allow your lower back to imprint or flatten. And then as you inhale, let your pelvis relax to neutral, so the tail is heavy. So as you exhale, we scoop the tailbone, almost like you're gonna roll into a bridge, and then relax the tailbone. Just do a couple more like this, curling the tail under, elbows still reaching to the sky, relaxing down. And it should feel like your lower abs are starting to meet your middle and your upper abs. Let's go one more like this. Try to relax the glutes the best you can. Pelvis to neutral. Lower the head and the chest. Flatten the lower back towards the floor. Bring one leg at a time up to tabletop if you want to up level. And then again, as you exhale, lift the head and the chest. This time, grab the back of your legs. And it doesn't matter if your legs are up or down, just grab the back of your thighs, relax your shoulders, take a deep breath in. Exhale, maybe curl up a little higher. And on your next breath out, slowly bring the hands back to the head, stay lifted. Staying here on your next breath out, right heel taps towards the floor. Yep. Inhale it up. And then exhale, left heel towards the floor. Inhale it up. Good. So keep going with this. Now this can be done with your head on the ground, a pillow under your head. And as you tap a heel towards the floor, it might touch, it might not, right? So if you hit the floor and your back starts to pop up and you feel your back working more than your abs, try to decrease the range of motion, right? Just don't go quite so far. If you want to make this harder, start to tap a little further away from your body, but without your body changing shape. Your pelvis doesn't change, your back doesn't change. You still have the height in your chest. Your head is relaxed, your jaw is relaxed. Take one more to your left. Find your center, hug the shins into the body and lower the head. Just give your hips a little bit of a rock from side to side. So things should be starting to warm up a little. And then find your center. Float the legs up tabletop. Or again, your feet can be on the ground for this if you want more support. Grab the back of your thighs, lift your head and chest to start. You're just off your shoulder blades. Relax the shoulders. Take an inhale. Exhale slowly, right? Sweep your hands back. The slower you go, the more space you take up, the harder it is on your abs. Support the head. This time as you exhale, right leg reaches forward. So the feet are the same height. That right leg is kind of moved out on a 45-degree angle. Inhale, bend in, curl the chest higher. Exhale, left leg reaches out, front of the hip opens, waistline draws down. As you bend the knee in, think of curling the chest up higher. So this is just the level up of toe taps, right? So you can always go back to toe taps or heel taps, right? Or this is more of a single leg stretch-esque exercise. Yeah, and then Vicky, feel the chest lift up just a little. Yeah. Good, couple more like this. There we go. Last one to the left. And then find your center, lower the head, hug your shins into your body. This time opening the knees and the feet. So give the inner thighs and the inner hips a little bit of a stretch and release. And then fold the thighs together, send the left leg down to the ground. Flex your left foot. Push the heel into the ground and almost imagine it's pulling towards you a little bit. So the back of the leg is active. Right leg tabletop, grab the back of the thigh with both hands. Lift your head and chest and then push your leg slightly forward so that the leg is no longer a true or classic tabletop. And the leverage of that leg moving forward is lifting you a little bit off your shoulders, right? So using the leg to help, take an inhale. Exhale, hands together behind the head. The leg will just stay where it's at. Look at that knee and then lift your left shoulder blade, twisting towards it. So just a small twist. Inhale to center. And then again, look at that knee, same side. Exhale, small twist. Inhale, center. So keep that left leg, right? Keep that foot flexed and rooting down as your upper body is twisting. So the lower body, the lower leg doesn't get to move. Yeah, keep an eye on your knee so your neck stays in a good position. It stays in a good alignment. And you might notice your twist might get smaller, but does the energy in your obliques, right, in your torso get a little bit more intense, right? Last one like this. The next time you twist, hold that twist. Take an inhale. Exhale, take your outside elbow and just reach it up to the sky a little bit, but try not to untwist. See if you feel both sides of your obliques working now. Take another breath in. Exhale, see if you can curl up off both shoulder blades just a little bit higher, and then lower all the way down. Hug that right shin in towards your body. Try to allow the front of the hip crease to soften, and think of very gently stretching your right sitting bone down as this leg hugs in towards the body. And then start to cross it over, open the right arm. And just go easy on this one, kind of the first bigger twist of the morning or the afternoon, wherever you might be. Scooping the tailbone under slightly and breathing into this right side. And then as you exhale, come back through center, right leg to the ground. All right, left leg floats up tabletop. Right leg, flex it, root the heel into the ground. Grab the back of the thigh, and then push your thigh forward, lifting yourself up off your shoulders. Yeah, and just hold here for a moment. Yeah, just recheck in. This right leg is nice and straight. That heel is rooting down. Right, take an inhale at the top. Exhale, hands behind the head. Try to stay lifted off those shoulders. Now look at your knee, right? Your chest is up, you're off those shoulders. Look at that knee. Lift your right shoulder blade. So it's a small twist. Inhale to center, yep. And then exhale, small twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, small twist. Yep, keep rooting into the right leg. And even notice, is that leg turning out? Is it turning in? Can it stay fairly parallel? And there's this sense of that right heel gently kind of pulling towards the body. So the back of the hamstrings are on. Yep. And again, this is going to get a little bit more of the obliques. You'll still feel the center of your tummy as well. Last 4. Yep. 3. Good. Nice. Last 2. And on the last one, hold. Take an inhale. As you exhale, take that outside elbow and lift it slightly. So bring the elbows towards one another, maintaining your twist. Take another breath in. Exhale, curl up a little higher off of both shoulder blades. And then lower down, hug the left shin in towards your body, or just whatever side you're on. And as this leg hugs in, try to relax and soften the front of the hip crease. On an inhale, bring that leg across, open the left arm, turn the palm to face up. Keep the tail scooping down a little bit and the waistline lifting up and in. And then just breathe into this outer waistline, in through the nose, out through the mouth. As you exhale, come back through center. Knees bent, feet flat. If you have a ball or a prop, place it in between your knees. Give it a little squeeze so you feel your inner thighs start to kick in. Arms relaxed by your side, palms down or up. Curl the tail, roll your hips to the sky. Just one vertebra at a time. So as the hips are lifting, start to feel that connection to the back of the gluteals. Inner thighs, tummy, hamstrings. Hold at the top of this lift. And then roll it down slowly. Upper back, middle back, lower back. Keep going. I'll be right back. Yeah. So keep moving. Start to check in with your feet. Is there a connection into the first balls of the feet, the last balls of the feet, and the center of the heels? Right, from Miss Eva, walk those feet a little forward for me. Yep. Good. Elizabeth, take the feet slightly wider and feel some weight in the first ball of that right foot. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. And just feel, right? You might even close your eyes. And as you go up and down in this bridge, feel that you're really trying to get some segmental movement. So in between each vertebra, right? Each segment, you're just trying to get a little bit of movement. In an ideal world, right, we'd be able to have that movement and maintain it. Now, the next time that you lift up, hold at the top of that bridge. We've already done a fair amount of ab work, so feel at the top, feel the front of your ribs are settling down, but at the same time, right, as the ribs drop, your hips are still lifting, and then squeeze into your prop, right? If you have your ball, squeeze into your ball or pillow or whatever it may be. Keep squeezing in. So inner thighs, deep glutes, hamstrings. And then feel like your heels, right? And you're not actually, I won't see this, but feel like your heels could very gently pull towards your shoulders. And see if you feel the back of your hamstrings kick in a little bit more. Keep all that going on your next breath, start to roll down. So I'm still squeezing in, I'm still pulling heels towards shoulders. All the way down we go. And then walk the feet slightly towards you and lift your heels. So my weight is now, majority of it, probably half of it's on my first and second balls of the feet. I'm going to curl the tail and slowly roll up with my heels lifted. Now, if this feels like too much in your lower back today, just come back to that first position. So as we lift, definitely glutes, hamstrings, but now the calves are going to start to get involved. Inhale at the top. Exhale again, roll it down slowly. Keep squeezing in against the prop. Yeah, nice. And again, rolling up. At the top, keep a little bit of weight on the first balls of the feet, right? Make sure the feet aren't rolling outward. Yep. Bring it back down. And then you can keep doing this, or if you want to add on, we roll up to the top, keeping that connection to the front of the ribs. So my rib cage is heavy, glutes are on. Now, keep and maintain the height of your hips. As you inhale, drop your heels, but imagine your hips are still lifting high. Exhale, lift your heels. Keep squeezing your prop. Inhale, heels drop. Exhale, heels lift. So this is going to get more into the calves, the arches of the feet. You're probably going to feel those hamstrings. And then for Julia and Elizabeth, feel just a little bit of weight on the first balls of the feet as the heels lift up. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Couple more. We feeling those calves? Yay, okay. Hopefully you're feeling them at home too. Last two. So it's a nice way you can kind of do calf work like we do on the reformer, but you don't need the reformer. We have a mat. Next time your heels go up, keep them up. Exhale, roll down slowly, one vertebra at a time. Once your pelvis touches the floor, take your prop off to the side, hug your knees into the body. And just give the hips a bit of a rock from side to side. And then grab the back of your thighs, bringing yourself to center. Roll yourself up to seated. All right, so, right, if we have mini balls here, so we're going to use one of these mini balls. You could use a pillow at home. You could fold it in half. But we're going to take this right at the base of our shoulders, our shoulder blades, rather, to start. Right now, be mindful, this can always go a little higher or lower, just depending on how it feels on your spine and depending on your torso length. So the hands come behind the head, right? Knees about 90 degrees. So, right, the feet will generally kind of want to start a little forward, but bring them slightly away from you. It'll help relax your hips, your thighs, and your hamstrings. right? Your head's supported, elbows up towards the sky. Low abs in. As you inhale, you're going to stretch back over the ball. Try to keep your head in a supported position so we're not just letting the head kind of fall back. And then as you exhale, think of pressing the ribs into the ball to press you back up, right? And again, as you inhale, your abs are still working as you go back. Upper back, middle back gets to extend. Exhale, feel that low ab, that pelvic floor connection, curl up. And at the top, imagine you could float. You could literally lift up off the ball a little bit. And then inhale, start to stretch back. Yup. And again, exhale, curl, curl, curl at the top. Imagine again, you're lifting up off the ball. So keep going with this. Now, if you feel like as you're going back and up, it just feels like a lot of tension's building in your lower or middle back, take the ball a little higher up towards your shoulders. If you don't feel enough abs on this, if you're like, I don't feel much going on, take the ball a little lower, closer towards your lower back, right? It's not on the lower back, but again, you can always adjust the ball. Might look different than my placement or your neighbor's, but it's a nice way to get some full range work into the abs. And then wherever the ball is positioned, again, at the top, hold on this one. And imagine, right, you're not necessarily going to look up to the sky, but can you hover your whole body up off that ball? Now, are you really going to hover up off of it? No, but do you feel more of your abs? And now just sink back a little, and I'll do this facing you, right? And again, right, imagine your breastbone could lift straight up to the sky. So you're offloading that ball a little bit, or pillow, and just sink back into it slightly. Just a couple more. Exhale, everything lifts. You'll probably feel more of the center line of your stomach. Everything lowers, right? 2 more. Exhale, everything lifts. Everything lowers. Last one, everything lifts. Now, can you maintain that lift and take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and then stretch back? And you might decide right on this one, you take the ball a little higher, the legs can reach out in front of you. Yeah, your head might touch the floor. We'll just take a couple breaths here, just letting the spine extend and letting the abdominals get a break, right? So you just get to kind of rest and relax on this one. Yeah, let's take one full breath. Yeah. And then curl yourself up and off of that ball or a pillow, whatever it may be. And we're going to place, right, the ball at the front of the mat. Now at home, you could also use a foam roller for this. Or if you have socks on, you could use, just a hard surface in front of your mat would be fine. So our feet are going to come onto the ball. Now, options, you can always ditch the prop. You do not have to have your feet on this ball, right? So hands are going to get behind the thighs, and we're just going to sit fairly tall, right? It doesn't have to be, perfectly completely up and down, but just tall. Shoulders easy, curl the tailbone. You're going to rock a little bit away and off of your sit bones and just hold, right? So we've rounded back slightly. Now take an inhale. Exhale, arms come forward. And can you hold yourself here, not just from your hips and your thighs, but can you feel this deeper sense of your lower abs? And you might have to go back a little further or come up a little bit higher to feel that, all right? Is everyone getting that sense? Okay. Now, take a picture of your spine and your lower back. It's not going to move. You're going to slowly, as you inhale, can you reach the ball away from you 2 to 3 inches, right? Nothing else in your body changes. From your abs, can you exhale and pull back in, right? Now, those of you at home, if this does not feel good in your body, one of you know who I'm talking about, you can go back into chest lifts, toe taps, anything like that. Otherwise, we're reaching out, stomach draws in, hips get to open a little bit, and then think of deepening your lower waistline as you pull in. Last 4, so it's kind of a play off teaser and an exercise called stomach massage on the reformer. Check in with your shoulders that they're not starting to do all the work for your abs. Now, last one, bend in a little bit, keep the ball still, curl your tail, roll all the way down, right? Pelvis, low back, middle back, upper back. Arms reach overhead, lengthen your legs out, pushing your ball or roller, whatever it may be, away from you. Inhale your arms, head and chest up, hold. Now, as you exhale, start to bend the knees as you curl and roll up. Yeah, very good, nice. Relax through the shoulders, take an inhale. Exhale, curl the tail, start to roll down, right? Pelvis, low back, middle back. As your arms reach overhead, lengthen your legs out. As you inhale, lift your arms, head, chest. Pause when your arms are parallel with the ground. Exhale, start to bend the knees, right? Pulling that ball or prop towards you as you come up. Nice. Just one more like this. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl, roll away. Last one's always the hardest. Right. Head heavy, arms reach overhead, lengthen the legs. Last one, inhale, arms, head, chest. Exhale, roll up, bending the knees towards you, right? And then take your prop away. Nicely done. All right, that goes away. Feet together, butterfly the knees open. Yep, and just fold into it. Now, also anything with roll-ups with your feet a little bit higher off the ground is definitely going to be more challenge, right? So just hold here for a moment. You might even give your feet a little bit of a massage. And we don't often take time to look at our feet. Good. Restack, sit tall. All right. And then grab your band if you're using it. So easiest way to get these on, once it's around both of your ankles, keep it wide. You can use your thumbs and kind of inchworm it up and over your knees, right? If you're using a band that's so heavy that you lose your range of motion, you literally can't lift your leg and what we're about to do, it means you have too much tension. You have to decrease that weight. Now we're going to come onto our side. Nothing new on this one, right? We've done this a ton of times. Now, if you want, you can use, if you have a ball or a pillow, you can use it as a headrest. You can also place your bottom arm behind your head or nice and long. Now your knees are going to bend forward, heels in line with the back of your sit bones. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Take that top hip and reach it down towards your feet. Connect to the front of the ribs and your stomach and lift the top knee into the tension. Hold. Squeeze your heels together. Yeah. Separate the toes. So lift the top toes to the sky so that top foot is turned out a little. And then push your top heel down, right? So push that heel into your bottom heel as your knee, as your thigh is still lifting. And then do you feel the back of your butt? Slowly start to lower. Try not to lose the tension of the band. Set your stomach, exhale, lift up. Feel the back of the glutes turning on to lift this thigh up and open. Inhale down. Yeah. Exhale, lift. Now, do you have to use a band on this? Absolutely not, right? We do not need a band. Now, I love this. This alone is just a great exercise. If you do weights or if you hike or walk a lot or run, this is a great activation exercise or prep to other movements as well. So you could always do this just on its own. Now, as your thigh is going up, make sure the pelvis isn't rolling backwards, but you're rolling in the hip joint, right? The pelvis isn't rolling, you're rolling in the hip joint. And at this point, things should be starting to warm up a little bit, yeah? Okay. The next time that you lift, pause at the top of your lift. Keep your thigh lifting, right? And now just lift your top foot as well. So your thigh, knee, and shin are all parallel with the ground. Keep the top knee 90 degrees, push it backwards slightly in space, just to where you feel a little bit more tension in that band, kind of into the back of the hamstrings and center of the glutes. Now, as you exhale, rotate your leg in. So the knee stays the same height. That top foot rotates towards the sky, and then come back to where you started. So again, exhale, rotating in. And inhaling back to center. Yup. Yeah, keep going with this one. Yeah, and then Modesto, feel that foot lift just a little higher to the sky. Yeah, there you go. And then back to center. You got it. So if you've been doing this one with me for a while, notice if it's starting to get easier, right? These muscles, they're fairly small compared to other ones. So after a while, hopefully this doesn't feel quite as torturous, right? Yeah, there we go. So, right, still working through the glutes, just in a different way. Let's just go one more like that. And then just let everything rest down nicely. And you might pat out the side of your thigh or pat out the side of the hip a little bit. And then staying on the side, top leg reaches long, bottom leg is still bent. And we're gonna lift that top thigh up so it's in line with the rest of the body. Softly point your foot today, and then bring the leg into a turnout without rolling the hip back. And just notice as you turn out, do you feel the back side of the glute start to kick in? And then as you exhale and lift up, can you feel the side of the hip, the side of the glute starting to kick in? Maintain the turnout, dropping the heel towards the ground. And then exhale, lifting up. Inhale, dropping down with control. Ribs are still connected, exhale, lifting. And just make sure every time this leg goes up, this hip, right, it's not hiking up, but again, you're just moving through the joint rather than hiking or moving through the pelvis. And a lot of the times we do this in parallel. Today, we're just doing it a little bit differently, right? Yeah. And then either see if it feels okay to turn that top leg out or turn toes to the sky. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so like 2 or 3 more, right? Keep breathing. It's also another test of if the tension with whatever you're doing is too much, if you can't breathe, right? And then the last one, just rest down. And again, just kind of pat out the thigh. Yeah, nicely done. All right, so knees are together, feet are together. We're on that same side still. Both hands can come behind the head. If you have a pillow, right, this will just be your top hand. Top elbow to the sky. Let your head and your ribs start to roll backwards. Hips will stay pretty still. There's a sense of the pubic bone lifting a little bit. And we're just rolling back. So it's upper and middle back rotation. And then exhale, come back through center. And again, top elbow, the head starts the motion. Upper spine, middle spine, follow it. Right? Back towards center. And just one more at your own time. Nice, your own pace. Yeah. And then come back to center. And then we'll flip sides. Nicely done. Whatever props you're using for your head, just make sure they come along with you. Make sure you can still see me. Okie doke. So knees are bent forward, feet are in line with the back of the sit bones. Top hip, it's not hiked up, it's reaching down a little. Top thigh, knee lift. We're just gonna hold here to start. Right? Flex your top foot, reaching the toes of that top foot towards the sky. Top heel pushes down. See if that changes the activation in the back of the glutes. Once you found it, start to lower that knee and thigh down. Try not to lose your tension. Set your stomach and then lift back up. Slowly bring it down. So 3 things happening. There's the lift, the pause, and the control down. Right on? Good. Now keep breathing. And you might notice your bottom glutes are working, right? They're working as stabilizers, super normal. Yep. Does anybody not feel this? Okay, good. Keep going. And just keep thinking, right? As the top knee is lifting, make sure the pelvis isn't rolling back. So you're rolling into your hip joint, you're not rolling the pelvis. Right? A couple more like this. Yeah. Next time you lift up, hold. So that top knee doesn't move. We're just gonna lift the top foot. So now your thigh, shin, and foot are parallel to the ground. Reach back slightly. The knee is still 90 degrees. I'm just reaching backwards into the tension of the band. And then as you exhale, rotate your thigh in. So the foot essentially kicks to the sky. Inhale back to center where you started. So rotate in, rotate to center. Now, as this hip gets tired, you'll see this happen. You'll see more of this abduction happen. Make sure you're still getting this pivot, right? This internal rotation and unwinding, rotating in, unwinding. This is really going to connect you more into your deeper glutes that help with internal rotation. And you might notice one side fatigues out way quicker than the other. Last 3, relaxing shoulders, jaw. Last one. And then rest everything down. Nice. Take a moment, take a breath, and then top leg reaches out, lifts up about hip height. Softly point the foot and turn the leg out, but again, without rolling the pelvis back. So the hip joint is where we're finding the movement, not the pelvis. Exhale, lift up, keep your turn out, slowly lower. Good, Dane's feeling it. This is good. Exhale, lift. Slowly lower, right? And all of our joints are shaped really differently. So if you have hips that don't have as much turnout, maybe you're doing this a little bit more parallel, right? Or if you generally have more turnout, this might feel generally a little bit easier because we're not in parallel today. But yeah, but just try to keep a little bit of that turnout as you go up and as you go down, right? Couple more. So the back of the glutes are still on, the side of the hip is on, a little bit of a different way, right? Last 2. And then on the last one, rest, bend the knee, just kind of pat out that side of the hip again. Nicely done. All right, if you have a pillow, just your top hand behind the head, otherwise both hands behind your head. And then the top elbow lifts the head, and then the rib cage starts to roll back. And there's just a sense of weight into my ribs. I'm not jamming or forcing them down, but a sense of weight. Rotating head, upper ribs, middle back, and slowly coming back to center. And again, elbow, head, rib cage. Yeah, back through center. Last one like this, elbow, head, rib cage. Then back to center. Nicely done. Once you finish, come on up, take that band out of there. We're done with this. All right. Thank you, band. All right, so once that's gone, we're going to be hands and knees, and we're going to come into some planks. So you might still be on your mat, right? Or again, you can be on a harder surface if you have one available. Fingers spread, right? Inner elbow slightly forward. Make sure the arms aren't locked. One leg walks back. Make sure your ribs didn't sink down like this, but you're lifted and kind of puffed up through your back. And then lift into your plank. Feet can be hip distance, or feet and thighs can be together. And for now, just hold here. So we have a lot going on. So press into your feet. So pushing down, push into your arms, and feel your stomach lift. Yeah? Yeah, and now knees can always be on the ground. You can always be on your forearms. Just know that. Feel biceps and triceps working. So Julia, find a little bicep. Yep. Oh, yeah. Holding and breathing. Stomach's lifting. Shoulder blades are widening. Right? Make sure there's even weight on your toes, your first toes, if you're on your feet. You're not rolled out on your feet. Take one more full breath in through nose and out through mouth. And then down dog or child's pose. Your choice. Right? Your choice. Hold and take a breath. And then slowly make your way down onto your forearms. So elbows under shoulders. Yeah, and you can have your knees still on the ground. So my shoulders to hip line is one kind of nice long line. My lower ribs are in, right? Or you can lift your legs and come into a full forearm plank. Just make sure if you're in that full forearm plank, your lower back isn't super arched, but there's still this sense of lift through your lower ribs. Yep. And then Modesto, lift the hips up just a little. Yeah, there you go. Yes, you got it. Yeah, shoulders are rolling down. Yep. And then Andrea, feel the hips lower just a little bit more. Yep. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, child's pose on 1. Knees drop, push on back. Nicely done. All right, so just breathing here for a moment. And then next up, we're still going to be on our forearms, but it's going to go back into the glutes. So we come up onto forearms, elbows under shoulders, hands together, knees are under the hips, about 1 fist distance apart. Now hug the inner elbows in, feel your forearms push down, and then reach your right leg back and up and just hold. Now make sure, right, if you have a yoga mat on a hard surface at home, that you have some padding for your knee. Keep this back leg nice and long, relax the head and the jaw, and then take your back leg, bend it down and in. Exhale, reach back and up. Inhale down and in. Shoulders staying out of the ears. Exhale back and up. So keep going with this. Yeah, so your upper back and your shoulders, right, they're still working, but this is going to start to become much more of a glute exercise. So you have your outer left hip, right? Outer left glutes are helping to support you, and then the right glutes are helping to move you. Yeah, and every once in a while, just check in with your head, maybe give it a little roll from side to side. Make sure you're not gripping or holding in your neck or your jaw. Think of weight kind of rooting down through your left leg and see if that turns on more of your outer left hips. Now you can stay with this, or next time your leg reaches out and up, hold. Keep the leg straight, small circle down, out a little, up, in a little, and back down. So we're really just finding that circular motion of the hip joint. You're going to start to feel maybe more of your hamstrings, your inner thighs, a different part of the glutes. Now you can always come up onto the hands at any point if your shoulders need a little bit of a break. Just be mindful the back doesn't overly arc in that position. Next time you hit your center, reverse, out, down, in, up. Keep that lower waistline, pelvic floor, deep low abs drawing in with every exhale. Keep your left waistline long. Last 2. Last one. Lower that leg down. Child's pose, cat stretch, or down dog, whatever you're feeling. Wherever you're at, take a full breath. On your next breath, rise up onto the forearms. Round 2. The elbows under shoulders, hands can be together or apart. Forearms rooting down, knees under hips. Right leg stays still, left leg, bring it back and up and pause. Feel your lower rib line and waistline connecting up. And then bend that back leg down and in. Exhale back and up. Down and in. Keep wrapping those shoulders. Back and up. Good. Nice. And then Nancy shifting the hips left just a little. There we go. Yep. Nice. And then Eva shifting the hips left just a little. Yeah, there you go. So those right glutes are on. Good. Again, at home, check that you're not swaying off to one side more than the other. And do we feel our glutes? Yay. Last 3 like this, and then we'll go into some circles. Last 2's looking good. Last 1, keep the leg lifted, keep it straight, softly point the foot. We're going to drop down a little, out a little, up, in, and back down. So there's that full motion. There's a down component, and up, and a left and a right, and in and out. Try to keep the leg straight throughout. Try not to let it bend. Keep the waistline in, and keep the shoulders down. Last 2. Hold at the last one, reverse, out, down, in and up. So getting the hamstrings and the inner thighs a little bit more involved. And again, maybe just a different part of the glutes that you haven't felt yet. Keep wrapping the shoulders out of the ears. Last 3, 2, last 1, and rest. Child's pose. Knees can open, feet together. You can reach the arms out in front of you, and you can use the hands to encourage a bit more stretch into the back of the hips, or just simply place the hands under the head. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And make your way onto your stomach. So all the way down onto our belly. Legs can be hip distance, or they can be wider if that feels more supported in your back. Arms are going to come to a goalpost. So elbows about 90 degrees in line with the shoulders. And the nose just an inch off the ground to start. Anchor your pubic bone, lift your low tummy, inhale, float the head. And then the chest off the ground a bit. Feel the shoulders rolling out of the ears and see how high can you come up before your elbows want to lift. So this is more about upper back extension, middle back extension, and lower back staying nice and still. Yep. And then just slowly start to bring it down. Very good. Yeah, relax your shoulders at the bottom. And again, set your stomach. Inhale, start to peel the head up first. The shoulder blades start to draw down. Your elbows, right? Keep your elbows heavy as your chest peels forward and up. Keep the pubic bone anchoring. Yeah, a little bit of glute work in the back. Nice. And then bring it back down. Good. All right, so adding on, right? Inhale the head, shoulder blades and shoulders draw down, chest peels up. Now just hold here, right? Right around the center of your breastbone or the base of your breastbone. And just lighten how much your arms are doing the work, right? So your arms aren't really doing too much work. And then maybe as you exhale, the elbows and the hands float off the ground. So the back of the shoulders, the middle spine, the upper spine has to do quite a bit of work. Now, if you feel this just overly bracing in your lower back, perhaps come down just a little lower and see if that puts more of the work into your upper back. Now, in your inhale, your arms lower, the chest and head stay lifted. And then as you exhale, imagine your elbows really reaching out to the sides of the room as you pull up. So inhale, just the arms lower, elbows and hands. And as you lift, can you feel the back of your shoulders and the inside of your shoulder blades? Now, this can also be done with your head on the ground, where we're just moving the arms, but the head is supported on the ground, and this will offload the lower back as well. So last 2, whichever one you're going for. Last one, keep that pubic bone heavy. And then as the arms touch the ground, lower the chest, lower the head, hands under the forehead. Bend the knees and windshield wiper the feet from side to side. So allow the hips and the pelvis to move on this. Exactly. Nicely done. One more each side. All right, and then find your center. Legs are going to be turned out. Heels can be together, toes apart, or you can still have your turn out and just have your feet about hip distance if your lower back is generally a little bit tight. Roll the shoulders out of the ears, anchor the pubic bone, exhale, reach your right leg out so far that eventually it hovers off the ground. And as that leg lifts, feel the front of the hip opening, keep the shoulders relaxing back, and can you start to feel the center line of the glute? So this is generally the hardest position to find hip extension because we're on the ground. It doesn't give the hip a lot of freedom. Take another breath in. Exhale, maybe lift up just a little higher, not from overarching the back, but by opening the front of the hip and lifting the leg. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, set the stomach, lengthen and reach the left leg up. It just hovers off the ground to start. Once you find that connection to the back of the hip, the back of the glutes, exhale, maybe lift a little higher by opening the hip, not by overarching the lower back. And then again, inhale, lower. Just one more each side. Set shoulders, right leg stretches out and up. And down. And again, set shoulder, set core, left leg reaches out and up. And down, nicely done. Push back, child's pose. Knees together this time. Arms stretch out. With the thighs together, you might feel more stretch in your spine. Just a couple breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And then rise up onto the hands and knees. And make your way towards the top edge of the mat. Set your shoulders. Right? Press up through your upper ribs a little bit or widen your upper back. Step back into a plank, last plank. Feet and thighs together. Again, maybe this is knees down plank. Maybe this is forearm plank. Keep hugging the thighs in, pushing the feet and the arms down. Yep. Roll the shoulders out of the ears. And then literally try to pull your limbs towards one another and see if you start to feel a little bit more of your abs kicking in. Right? Holding and breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. You're going to walk your hands and feet together, forward fold, and then roll yourself up to stand. And you might step off of your mat on this one for a little bit of balance work. If you want more challenge today, just stay on your mat. All right. You can also use a wall or anything like that, or a counter, right? So feet are going to be about hand distance apart. Yeah. Hips are square, a little bit of a bend into the knees. Keep your core in. Now your back line won't change. Heel the hand to your hip bones. Fingers come in towards your hip joints. And we're just going to do a waiter's bow to start. So a little bend in the knees. I'm reaching my hips back. I'm leaning slightly forward. And I'm just holding this, right? My core muscles are in. And then I'm pushing to my feet and rising up, right? And just one more like this. So I'm hinging through my hips. My back line isn't changing. And rising up, right? And I'll just demo that from the front. So I lied. We'll do one more. So hinging, right? Rising up. So adding on to this, find a small hinge, right? Hands can now come to the side of the hip. So I want you to start to feel a little bit more on the side of the glutes. Now I'm going to take my right heel, lift it, and I'm going to start to walk my right leg back in space. So almost like you're going into a lunge. Now hold there. I'm barely have any weight in my back foot. I'm just going to walk it back to where I started. Stay on that same leg and again, walk it back. So can you feel your standing leg? Can you feel those glutes on your standing leg? So all of that clam work we did, all of that side kind of lateral work we did, I want you to integrate that into standing. So as we're standing, those glutes are helping to not let this front leg, that front knee kind of roll and dive inward. And you should be starting to feel some heat in that standing leg. And it doesn't mean your quads aren't working, your inner thighs, all the rest, but do you feel your glutes? Yay. Yeah, just like one more like that. Waistline still connected. And the next time that you come in, rise up. Yeah, just shake it out. If you've done Audra's sculpt class, you've probably done that before, or my sculpt class in the past. All right, so same thing. We'll start with a little bit of a waiter's bow. It doesn't have to be very big. So there's a little bit of a bend in the knees. We're hinging, right? Hips go back. We hinge into the hip creases. Back line hasn't changed. My right leg, I'm rooting it down. My left heel, I lift it. And then I just start to walk. It could be little baby steps, right? I'm just inching my left leg back and then inching it forward. And checking that, check your right knee. Is it diving inward? Or is it in line with your inner hip and your second toe? Give or take, right? So it's balance exercise, it's glute work. Waistline's in. Now we've done a lot of glute work today, so we're not going to have time to use lacrosse balls or foam rollers, but if you have time later in your day, roll this all out at some point. You can stretch it out with figure 4 stretches or pigeon stretches. Last 2. Check that your first toe on your standing leg isn't trying to grip and do all the work, right? Last 1. Bring it in. Rise it up. Shake out that standing leg again. Nice. All right, so just integrating some of that side work into upright posture. Feet and thighs can be together. If you want a little bit more challenge on your balance or hip distance, take an inhale, stand tall. Exhale, nod your chin and start to roll down. Soften the knees a little bit. Yep, just rolling down. Yeah, and just hang out at the bottom. Feet and thighs together is going to be more challenge to your hamstring mobility, to your balance. Relax your head, your jaw. If you want a little extra neck stretch, you can clasp your hands together. Hands go behind the head, the elbows fold, right? They come towards one another. And I'm just using the weight of my arms to give myself a little traction. I'm not pulling on my head. Take a full breath. Relax the arms to the floor. On your next breath out, start to roll up. Nicely done. We'll end you there today.